Hey, what's up, humans and freaks? So let's get right to it. Let's start with the obvious, okay? The death of George Floyd was one of the most, disturbing things that we've probably ever seen on camera with police brutality. Rodney King was really, really bad back in the 90s, but this one was really bad. Okay, now anybody with two eyes, even if you have one eye, could tell that that cop that killed him, that murdered him, wanted him dead. You don't have your knee on somebody for 9 minutes and they're saying I can't breathe and all that, and you keep your knee on them. So this is not debatable, okay? It's very sad and tragic, and it's annoying that this cop, I heard, might get second-degree murder charges. I haven't looked into it, but he should be charged with first-degree murder. Minnesota doesn't have the death penalty, but the guy deserves the death penalty. It's obvious, okay? Having said that, it doesn't matter what he did before he got put in handcuffs and face down on the pavement. It doesn't matter. He could have been resisting arrest, let's say. Maybe he had drugs on him. You know, there's surveillance video out there, CCTV cameras, I think that's how you say it, that show him when he first got apprehended by the police. See, this isn't the murder footage, okay? Because remember that cell phone footage just started out when the cop had the knee on his neck. I'm talking about previous footage. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but previous footage shows, okay, when he first got apprehended by the police, okay, first got put in handcuffs, when he's sitting down on the sidewalk, he drops a little plastic bag with white powder in it to the pavement, trying to hide it. But that doesn't matter. Like, the point is this. It doesn't matter what he did before he got face down on the concrete in handcuffs. Doesn't matter what happened before that, okay? He did not deserve to be murdered like that. Okay, that's a no-brainer, guys. But the point of this video is to get you to look at the overall agenda, okay? All right, and to dispel something. So let's go into Antifa and George Soros. Okay. Donald Trump was right to declare Antifa a terrorist group. I've been calling Antifa, when did Antifa first get on the scene? Was that 5 years ago? Something like that? They're a new group. But I've been calling them terrorists since day one. Same with a bunch of other people. Anybody who is not brainwashed by the liberal media, because that's what the liberal media does. CNN, MSNBC, man, they all just push racism. It's all brainwashing, okay? So us in the conservative media, alternative media, I would more say alternative. I'm not even a big fan of Fox News, okay? I like Tucker Carlson. He tells the truth, okay? But I'm not even a big fan of Fox News. So I don't even consider myself a conservative media person. I am a conservative politically, but I'm just alternative media, okay? Truth media. How about that? So Antifa is a terrorist organization. Been saying that since day one. So that's right. That's true. And they're funded by George Soros, okay? George Soros was a Nazi collaborator. He's like 90 years old right now. But he helped round up Jews in Germany, okay? That's a fact. He helped round up Jews for Hitler. And he admitted this on camera in interviews. You can look it up. Look it up. Look up all this stuff I'm telling you. It's all out there, okay? So that's good. Second thing, I'm not going to be surprised if in the near future BLM will be labeled a terrorist organization. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, what, Brandon? What are you, racist against black people? BLM, a racist organization? Or, well, they're that too. They're a racist organization, but they're also a terrorist organization. Now, hear me out. Am I saying every individual in Black Lives Matter is a racist and a terrorist? Absolutely not. there's a lot of good people, good meaning, good intentions, okay? Well-meaning, good intended people in Black Lives Matter. Okay? They mean well, their heart's in the right place. But it's just like any cult, okay? And you can talk about like religious cults, okay? Let's use a religious cult as an example. There's Christian cults out there, okay? The people at the top know exactly what they're doing. The people in the middle and at the bottom, they don't know what's really going on at the top. Okay, so that's what Antifa is like and Black Lives Matter is like. Antifa, you have these rich white liberals who have white guilt, okay? And I'm laughing because it's just so sad and it's so frustrating. Okay, so you have these rich white liberals who have white guilt, who feel it is their calling in life to stand up for oppressed Black people in 2020 America. There are no oppressed Black people in 2020 America. This is not the 1800s. This is not the early 1900s up until the 1950s. Okay, slavery's over. It's been over for a long time. Segregation has been over for a long time. So these rich white liberals, what they do is they virtue signal. And hey, Malcolm X, and look it up. Malcolm X talked about these people. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, those are real Black leaders, okay? And Malcolm X specifically said, the white liberal is the most dangerous person of all to Black lives. Look up those quotes about Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X said, hey, at least the racist white conservative people, you know who they are up front. They don't try and hide their racism at all. You see what you get, right? You get what you see. What you see is what you get, right? With the true racist white conservatives, okay? But the white liberal pretends to be your friend. And they pretend to be your friend because they don't want any trouble from you. They don't want to be bothered by you. So Antifa has these white liberals who have white guilt, who are like worshiping and apologizing to Black people. There's a bunch of clips out there. You can look it up. So anyway, that's what's going on with Antifa. And then with BLM, here's what you have. Black lives only matter to the leadership of BLM when a white cop kills a Black person. That's the only time Black lives matter to those people. That's the only time. Because, check it out. If Black lives really did matter to those people, they would be 100% all the time protesting and calling out other Black people who murder Black people. The Black on Black murders that go on in this country almost every day, basically every day, it's insane. Black people kill way more Black people than any white people do in this country, than any cops do in this country. But again, the liberal media will never, ever open your eyes to that. Because they want you trapped in this racism thing. It's Black versus white, it's white versus Black, okay? So Antifa, BLM, both terrorist groups, both racist groups, but both of these groups have, again, people at the bottom of the pyramid and the middle who are brainwashed. They don't know what's going on at the top, okay? So they're easily manipulated. Sad but true. All right, so let's go to Black and white cop killings. Check this out. In the last 3 years, okay, let's look at the numbers. Again, look all this stuff up. In the last 3 years, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, so 3.5. How many total white people were killed by cops? Okay, you have, 1,268. 1,268. Can you name one of those names? Can you name one white person out of the 1,268 that were murdered by police? Killed by police? No, you can't. You can't, because they will never, ever blow that up like they did with George Floyd. They will never blow that up. Never. Why? Because it doesn't fit their agenda. Their agenda of what? divide and conquer, black versus white, race wars, okay? They'll never do it. Because it doesn't make money. It's not sexy enough, right? Oh, it's real sexy when a white cop kills a black person. You see? Now, how many black people were killed by police in the last 3.5 years? 698. And you're going to say, well, but there's way less black people than white people in America. That's true. Well, whites got about almost double the amount. I mean, why don't we know any white names? How about Latinos? They were what? They're at about 500 something. Do we know one Latino name that got killed by a police officer in the last 3.5 years? We don't know one. But it happens to them too. What about other? So other would be Asian and, Indians. What about them? Yeah, their numbers are a lot lower. But doesn't matter. Okay. All lives matter. And of course, Black lives matter. Nobody's saying Black lives don't matter. But all lives matter. And blue lives matter. See, all three sayings are all 100% correct. And there's nothing wrong with them on the surface. But if you are a BLM leader, Black lives only matter to you when they're murdered by white cops or white people. Because this is a fact. Planned Parenthood was created to exterminate the black race. Look up Margaret Sanger. Look up her sayings. Look up what she was about. She wasn't shy about it. She made it clear. Black Lives Matter leadership. How about this? How about you stop murdering your own race? Black people, stop murdering your own race. How about that? Stop murdering your own kids. How about that? Do those lives matter? Guess not. Because you never talk about it. And you're not doing anything about it. Oh, but if a white cop kills a black person, World War III. Put it all over the news for weeks on end in a row. Every day in a row. Ridiculous. All right. So, what about just racism as a whole? How about that? Look up the racist surveys. You'll find that black people are just as racist as white people. Just as. Now, is every black person racist? Of course not. Again, common sense here, guys. Is every white person racist? Of course not. But when you look at the surveys and the studies that are all out there, I'll link them down below. Just ask me. I'll send them to you. Black people are just as racist as white people. And guess what? Black people that are honest know this. Larry Elder, okay? Look up these black leaders, true black leaders of today. Larry Elder, Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum. There's 3 names for it. Larry Elder's the best one, though. The black community knows this, too. And they laugh at you for it. Because they know the liberal white media only portrays that white people can be racist. That's complete BS. I've met black racist people. And I've met white racist people. I know it when I see it. I've encountered it straight to my face. Been told things to my face. They weren't even trying to hide it. And I'm going to get into that in a second. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. I was 21. And I was working at a place called the Bellevue Club Hotel. This is in Bellevue, Washington. There's another black guy that worked there with me. But he was a dark-skinned black guy. And here's why the dark-skinned black guy matters to this story. He told me straight out to my face, "You're a house Negro." And I'm like, okay, and your point is what? He goes, oh, well, During slavery times, you'd be working in the house, I'd be working outside. See, you get treated better than me. You don't get discriminated like I do. You got it easy compared to me. You know why I'm laughing? Because everybody that knows me and knows where I grew up knows that Bellevue, Washington, this guy lived in Bellevue, Washington. Bellevue, Washington is upper class. Okay? Not everybody in Bellevue is super rich, but it's an upper class society. Upper class city. He lived in Bellevue, Washington. Grew up there. I grew up in Renton, Washington. But the name got changed later to Newcastle, Washington, because they divided up the city lines. I'm not from the ghetto. I'm not from the hood. I got a white mom who was born in the countryside in New York. I got a black dad who was born to a single black mother in 1940s America in the hood in the Los Angeles area. So, check it out. I got two polar opposite backgrounds merged into one. Imagine that. My parents know what racism looks like, and they can tell you stories because they were a black and white couple in the early 70s in California. That's where they met. For example, my dad would be driving my mom home from a date, and they would get pulled over by police. And the police would totally ignore my dad and just look at my mom and say, "Miss, is everything okay? Are you okay? Are you in danger of any kind?" Dude, think about that. And my mom's like, "Yeah, this is my boyfriend." Oh, okay. Have a good night, y'all. Have a good night. See what I'm talking about? Okay. So, my coworker, dark-skinned black guy, straight out racist against me. See, black people, they can also be racist against their own race, just like any other race. Oh, you're light-skinned. Oh, we don't like you because you're light-skinned. You got it easy. Come on, guys. Just think about this crap. Okay, let's go with some white racism that I've experienced before. I was 11 years old in 5th grade, and my buddy, Eddie Mendez, was Latino. He was Mexican. We were both wearing baggy clothes because that was the style in the 90s. In the early mid-90s, that was the style. So I was 1 year old for my grade. I was 11, he was 10. True story. Our teacher is Mr. Lanscardi. He's a white guy. Old white guy. Sadly, he blew his brains out with a shotgun on the side of a freeway one day. He had some pretty intense issues going on. But I'm convinced he was a racist, okay? Here's why. We walk in the door for school, and he goes, "Get out in the hallway. Go to the principal's office. You guys are just like gangsters." I'm 11. Eddie Mendez is 10. And we're like, all right. So we go to the principal's office. Like, "Why are you here?" "Oh, Mr. Lanscardi kicked us out of class. Before class even started, we just walk in the door. He kicked us out of class because he said we were dressed like gangsters." And we said, "Well, wait a minute. What about all the white boys who are wearing baggy clothing? What about them? Are they dressed like gangsters?" Check this out. The lady said, "I'm married to a Mexican." And me and my friend Eddie started we were cracking up. We were like, "No, you're not." Now, we really didn't know who she was married to, but we called her on her BS right away. We were like, "No, you're not." She goes, "Yes, I am." I said, "No, you're not." We both said, "No, you're not. Show us a picture." She didn't have a picture. But guys, the point is this. This teacher kicked us out simply because of our skin color. Because there were plenty of white boys at that time that dressed the exact same way. Oh, but the white boys are skaters, you see. See, they're skaters. And these colored boys, they're gangsters. Really? An 11 and a 10-year-old are gangsters? Come on, man. And we're in the suburbs. We're not... Anyway, stupid stuff. What else? Oh, when I first moved to California, me and my brother were in the car. I was driving. Didn't break any laws. Not one. Cop literally pulls us over on a, not a neighborhood street, but like a, what do you call it? A residential road, okay? Pulls us over. Tells us both to get out of the car. Doesn't tell us why we're even pulled over. Tells us both to get out of the car. We're like, all right. We knew we didn't do anything wrong, so we're like, we don't care. See, me and my brother, we were just amused by this. We were trying not to laugh. So he says, get out of the car. So, okay. We got out of the car. He goes, put your hands up on the roof of your car. So we both are now on the side of the street. All these cars passing us by, slowly looking like, oh, what's going to happen to these guys? Right? But we're cracking up in our heads because we didn't do anything. So we have our hands up on the roof, legs spread. The dude, officer, pats us down. You got any drugs on you? I'm like, no. You sure? Yeah. What about in your car? Go ahead. Feel free. Looks through the car. No drugs. All right. You guys go ahead. I said, so why'd you pull us over? And he goes, well, oh, you got Washington license plates. And you're in California. I'm like, yeah. I just moved here. All right, you're free to go. And me and my brother Ryan, it was my brother Ryan, just start cracking up in the car. So, anyway, I could tell you more stories, but... okay, so again, overall agenda. They are using George Floyd's death. Should be obvious to you by now. They're using George Floyd's death to create race wars, to further destroy the country because they're burning up all the cities. And look, there's protesters, there's rioters, there's looters. Don't call protesters, okay, people who are stealing from stores, beating up innocent people, killing innocent people. Those are not protesters. Those are criminals that deserve to be in jail, in prison. Okay? Protesters peacefully protest, do not commit any crimes. That's a protest. Okay? So stop with this BS. Okay? This is not the white man's fault. It's not. It's just not. This is not police officers' fault. It's one police officer's fault. And the other police officers around him that didn't stop him is their fault. What about the people holding the cell phone? I mean, I know if I'm standing right there, I'm no tough guy, but if I'm standing right there as a citizen and the cop is clearly murdering the guy very slowly, come on. Somebody has to run in and pull the cop off of him. I mean, come on. Anyway, so whole point is there's an agenda, and the agenda is race wars, further collapse the economy, destroy the country. You ought to know. Here's the take-home message. The take-home message is this. You should know the deep state by now, okay? There's a secret deep state government. George Soros, look him up, okay? They have bricks on pallets all set up throughout America. Just random bricks stacked up on these wooden pallets, ready for the protesters. Okay, let me say this last thing. A lot of these violent protests, they're not protests. A lot of these violent riots and looting a lot of them start with white people, okay? These are white Antifa people, undercover cops, throwing the brick through the window, starting the fire. And here's what they're doing. This is what's so sad. The black community is getting played yet again. You're getting suckered into this. Because they're starting it and then they're dragging you along. Okay? And then what do people do? Okay? You're just feeding into the negative black stereotype. That's all it is. You're feeding into the negative black stereotype. They don't care about you. You're getting played. You're getting suckered. Sorry to tell you, but that's the truth. So, anyways, John 3:16 to verse 21. Look it up, because here's the whole deal. Even if every human being had the same color skin, guess what humans would do? Oh, you got a different eye color. You got different hair color. See, the real problem here is sinful nature. It's sinful man. We're all jacked up. We all have a sinful nature. Okay? So don't think if racism was eliminated, our problems would be solved, because it wouldn't. We start saying, oh, look at him. He got blue eyes. Oh, look at him. He got brown eyes. Oh, look at him. He has blonde hair. He has brown hair. See, it's sinful human nature to do this. Every race on planet Earth does this. And then another thing. Why is the black race the only race to destroy things and riot and loot when one of their own gets killed by a police officer? Does the white race do this? No. Does the black race, or does the Latino race do this? No. Asians? No. We're the only race that does this. It's so sad. It's embarrassing. It's sad and embarrassing. So just stop doing it, man. Okay, let's talk about crime real quick. This is probably one of the saddest statistics out there. Black people make up about 13% of the U.S. population, but are responsible for almost 50% of the murders in the U.S. Think about that. You got about 13% of the population committing about 50% of the murders. That's a fact. Department of Justice, FBI numbers, NGOs, non-government organizations. This is a clear fact. Look it up. But cut that number in half. It's really like 6 or 7%, because black women aren't out there murdering people. It's young black men, typically 18 to like 40, in that range. Sad but true. So you got about 6% of the population in the US committing 50% of the murders. That is insane, guys. And yeah, a lot of that is black on black murder. Hey, where's Black Lives Matter on that? Oh, I forgot. The Black Lives only matter when a white cop kills y'all. All right, that's it. Rant's over. You should be awake by now. What's going on? All right.